Welcome, welcome. Here we are to our college's Part 1 project. I just took this monstrosity and I broke it down into 3 separate parts, so here is Part 1. So in Part 1 of colleges, we're going to kind of be exploring the choice of, first and foremost, I guess, going to college is kind of the assumption we're going with in this project, but then is to choose a college, and then we'll also be choosing a major, and we'll also be looking at some of the different career opportunities that are available with that given major. This is not to say that we are limited from choosing a career based on our major in college, but it is sort of indicative. So say, for example, I went to school for engineering, I can secure an engineering job with a relative amount of ease, compared to if I went for interpretive dance. I might need to do some extra stuff if I went for interpretive dance than I would for engineering, just as an example there. But it's not to say that you can't get a job. Just the bachelor's degree sometimes in and of itself is the requirement. So sometimes the major is less important. So here we go. You guys can make a copy. Colleges Part 1. Here is the video, which I will upload as soon as I'm done making it now. There are a couple videos to check out here for required viewing. There's no required articles to read, but there's a couple I'll have you check out in a minute here. Some non-required videos. Here I'm going to have you guys just check out at least 2 of these things. The College Board data that I've got here is phenomenal. So these 3 articles I think are probably the most interesting, but it also is some really dry material, and a lot of it has to do with cost, which we'll get to later. So maybe those aren't the top 3 choices, but I do have you checking out some of the information later within the project in this. So feel free to check these out. ONET, just occupation and salary stuff. Pay scale we'll be using in the project as well. One thing about this project is after using pay scale for, I don't know, however many clicks pay scale goes through before it says like, hey, I think you really enjoy using pay scale, you should make an account, and they kind of like force you into making an account. Just go ahead and do so. It's not a big deal. It doesn't like do anything, and you can make up fake information. It doesn't really matter. There are some open-ended questions here for you, kind of thinking about college, thinking about is it for everyone or is it even a good choice? Then we've got some guided practice. So in the first section of the guided practice, I have one of those College Board links here. So if you want to click within this PowerPoint, it's basically just going to allow you to see it a little bit more clearly, I would think. So, I can zoom in within this PowerPoint to a very high degree. It's all vector, so it scales nicely. This image is a fairly high resolution. You can zoom in as well. So I'm at 150, could go to 200. If you're super old and decrepit like me, maybe your eyes don't work as well, and maybe you just want to use the PowerPoint, and that's fine as well. So here is the information for you, and then here are some guided questions. So I'm just going to have you answer these. The next section has us going through the Bureau of Labor Statistics and finding a job that we like and putting some information for that. Then we get to the exploration portion of this project, which I'm going to now walk through live with you. In the past, there had been some confusion about what exactly I was looking for this section, so I figured why not just go through and do the example live, as me filling in the example and just having you look at it isn't all that impressive. I don't feel it really helps with some of the issues that would arise. So I would say go ahead and make a copy of this bad Larry, and we will jump into it now. So this is my example. The example is almost identical to the practice with the exception of I have 2 instead of 1 here, and I have 2 instead of 1 here as well. So I'm basically going to be going and showing you for each of the links, whereas you don't really need to use each, you can just choose one. The only other part is that in the example, I do not cover the very last bit in the summary here. And the reason for that is just because you're going to be checking it out yourself. So basically you're using this link, you're going to go check out the Bureau of Labor Statistics information here, and then capturing some of that in the practice. Pretty straightforward there, just filling it in. It gives you some information. And if we need to make a conversion from weekly to annually, I would hope you guys are able to do that. Let's talk about the first one here. So basically this has us looking at different jobs, and so the first thing we're looking at here is going to be from PayScale, and I'm going to use this first link, and I'm looking at jobs. I'm just going to make this up on the fly here, so we'll see where I go with it. I am feeling maybe education, and I'm feeling high school teacher. Oh my god, this is just classic. So now I'm going to jump back into my spreadsheet for a second, and the title I'd be looking at for my job is a high school teacher. So basically you can copy paste or you can just type it in. Don't tell anybody, but I'm actually incredibly lazy and I just like to take shortcuts wherever I can. When I paste like this, the formatting looks terrible and ugly. So what I can do right after pasting is I can paste formatting and paste values only. So now it's just pasting high school teacher in there. Perfect. Now, not all of these jobs have a low, medium, and high end of the salary. Median, medium, mean, all fairly interchangeable here, although they do have different meanings. So basically, within this job that I've got here, it's got the pay, job details, skills, job listing, so you can check out all these different elements, and it's just going to jump you to a different section of the actual report here. So kind of goes through like that for you when you jump back up to the very top. So when I'm looking at pay here, it has a base salary and it's got a range for me. So with most of these jobs, there's not just a single salary that you get for it. The exception, I would say, being like within the military or within a very structured organization where you have a set pay scale at a set rate, is that most jobs are kind of on a spectrum. So with this one, I would say the low end, the 10%, is 36,000. K denotes 1,000 here. Median is 50, and the high end is 78. So in my spreadsheet, I'm going to go ahead and copy in 36, and then I'm going to type, well, actually, I have it denoted as currency, so we'll go ahead and do 36,000, and then 50,000, and then what was it, 78,000? There we go. And yep, got them all. Perfect. So this also says the average salary for a high school teacher is $50,344. Instead of using the median value here where it says 50K, if you wanted to go in here and say 50,344, that's fine as well. It doesn't really matter one way or the other. Let's see. I'm just going to scroll through one of these for you guys just so you can kind of like get an idea of what they look like, and I'll maybe do one more as well. But base salary, bonus is very, very rare for teachers, profit sharing rare as well, and so this total pay is just a combination of your base salary plus these other two elements as well. This is looking at Portsmouth, New Hampshire. We can find a different market, so if I wanted to change this to, let's say, New York or whatever, I could say, okay, find my market worth, and now this is doing a little bit of a different thing. So this is a bit of a tangent here I'm just trying to show you, and you can like go through this whole thing and fill out like, I want information regarding my current job, blah, 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 and it'll kind of give you like an idea of what you should be paid based on, experience and whatever else. So here is where we can explore like by city. So again, if I chose New York, then this is going to adjust. So the top here, this says average high school teacher salary in New York. And now we see the median is higher, right? In a city, the pay and everything, costs of living, etc., are higher. And so basically we see that this median is higher based on being in New York. If I said, oh, I'm a experienced teacher, it's going to update again. And so now we see that median jumped again. If I said, okay, I have some, whatever skills, then I don't know that would really change much for a teacher, but there's going to be some fluctuation there as well. So with these, we're just going to use kind of the base level. We don't need to do anything fancy, but if you do want to pursue that further, you're able to do so. So that was my first one. Let's use now, instead of by job, I'm going to go by industry. So now I'm doing search industry salaries. And so now within these industries, I will choose, manufacturing. Now within manufacturing, there's some popular manufacturing industries. I'm going to go with building materials. And so now I have a salary for the industry, which is building materials manufacturing. And so I'm going to, in my job title here, go choose one of these things. Okay, so basically there's a number of different jobs. There's the salary for the industry. So the job title can be any one of these things here. So if I wanted to choose, I don't know, what do I want to be? I want to be a process engineer. So I'm going to click process engineer, and now I'm going to have my low, median, and high end of the salary. And again, if you want to use like the exact value instead of the general value, that's fine. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to use the rounded value. What do we say we are? We are a process engineer. I think it was 74 and 103, but I'll check that in a second. Again, I'm doing Control V to do my paste, and then I'm just going to do paste values only. I think if I do Control Shift V, it only pastes the values. If that's the shortcut, I will let you know. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm just imagining stuff. That's not. I know at one point I figured out what the shortcut was for it, but I forget now. So anyways, that is the wrap up on the jobs portion. I think I got the salaries right. 74, 103, perfect. So now the next section I'm going to jump to is now looking at careers if I had a bachelor's degree. So with this bachelor's degree option, basically what I'm saying is I have gone to a four-year university or whatever, and now I have this degree. And so what are the jobs available to me? And so when I'm looking at this, I'm now looking for it by school. So I'm going to choose a bachelor's degree, and I'm going to go to pay scale again. Here's where it gets a little bit tricky. So as I'm looking at this, I'm looking for basically by major. And so one of the things you'll see here is like arts, business, whatever. These are by, excuse me, not by major, by schools. So I'm going to look by schools, and I'm going to personally just choose to go to a state school. I forget which one of these. This is a really bad portion of their website, whereas they don't just call these one thing. One is like lame and one is good. I wonder if I put a note here. I think I did. Yeah, so state school, I think, is the thing we want. We don't want state schools. So I'm going to click state school, and this is just an example. So you can choose whatever of those fields you want. If you want to go art school, business school, whatever. From here in the instructions, it also says to search by a letter and then to find the university name. So let's just say, for example, I wanted to do Plymouth State University. I'm going to skip all this stuff here, and I'm going to go down to the bottom where it says search by letter. I'm going to click P. Now I've limited everything, and now what I can do is I can Control F on my keyboard, and it pops up this search function at the bottom. I'm going to start typing in Plymouth, and there it pops up for me, highlighted in green. Now I could just scroll through, it's alphabetical, but again, I'm lazy, so I want to take shortcuts where I can. I click Plymouth State University, and it now has some salaries for Plymouth State University. And so when I'm looking at this, I want average salary. If it's showing something in hourly rate, I just want to convert it. So if I wanted to click hourly rate, I could just do that and then click again to show salary. So it's just bouncing back and forth between those two things. So basically now here, I'm going to list the school, which I chose, Plymouth State University. I am going to choose the early career salary right here, the mid-career salary right here, and then I'm going to, I think, leave off the, oh no, this is what it is, okay. So we're going to enter the early career salary for the low end, we're going to enter the average salary here for the mid-range, and then the mid-career salary as the high range on it. I know it's a little bit confusing. I'll add a note into the project as well here. So let's say use, what do they call it? Early career salary. Oh no, I have it all highlighted here. Why do I even doubt myself? This is crazy. Okay, so I have it right here. Early career salary, the average salary, which is the median it presents you, and then the mid-career salary for our upper end. Man, I should just read before I do these things. There we go. I've got my first one. Again, I'm going to paste this. If it pastes kind of funny for you, you can just click it and paste values only, and there we're good to go. So we could have easily updated the highlighting on the cells there, but again, easy route. Let's see, we got 64019 here. And then we have our upper echelon right here. So one important thing to note about this when we're searching by school, we're searching by just, you know, a four-year bachelor school, basically what we're looking at is an aggregate of all these different majors and, you know, people going 100 different routes. And so it is a big generalization, but you can see certain trends in schools. So say, for example, I chose MIT. MIT is going to have a higher early, average, and mid-career salary than, say, Plymouth State University. But by and large, these are really, really generalized like values here. I wouldn't read too much into these. The next one I'm going to do here is I'm going to search by degree. So instead of searching by a school, I'm going to search by degree. X out of that, and now we'll do by degrees. So now here I'm going to go ahead and for my own selfish choice, choose mathematics. And so now here are all the different degree options, and it can be a little bit confusing. Typically, it's going relatively, I think, in order here, but it can be a little bit confusing. there is a Bachelor of Science and a Bachelor of Arts. Depending on the degree, one is much more common than the other. So say, for example, I was a double major, which I was. My mathematics is a Bachelor of Science, whereas the political science degree that I have is a Bachelor of Arts. So when I'm looking at this, when it says Bachelor of Science and saying BS in mathematics, that's what I would want to click. You can do Bachelor of Arts in mathematics, and it's going to basically be the same thing. It doesn't really matter too much, but typically the sciences end up being Bachelor of Science, whereas arts are Bachelor of Arts, whereas that would be like English, social studies, things of that nature, languages. So I'm just going to click Bachelor of Science here for mathematics degree. And again, I have my career here for me. In terms of what I'm looking for, let's see. I'm going to go degree is mathematics. The average salary is going to be the first one that popped up here, which was the $77,842. And now I'm going to choose one of the jobs, and I'm going to choose the job's average salary. So this is, again, a little bit different than the one we just did. So in this one, I'm going to choose data analyst, and I'm going to choose that as an average salary of $59,000. So let's go ahead with data analyst, and we'll say it was $59,000. Cool. Let's see what else we got here. The next is we're going to go search by an associate's degree. This one can be a little bit confusing. When we're choosing one here, I'll kind of show you what I mean. So I'm going to use this top link first, and this is degrees by salary, or excuse me, degrees, and then we're going to search within a degree, and then we'll find associates. So I'm going to do, I don't know, we'll click mathematics again, and we'll kind of see what the difference is. So I'm going to do now a search. So I'm hitting Control F on my keyboard, and I'm going to start typing in associate. So now I have an associate of science, which is a degree option. And so basically anything that says associate in the title, that's what we're looking for. So here in the instructions here, I tell you, so for example, you could do associate of applied science, and the symbol is just AAS for that. So, and I look at this and I say, okay, associate of science, okay, I'm good to go. I could also do an associate of arts in mathematics. I could do an associate of applied sciences, the one in that previous example there. I could do associate of business administration with mathematics. I'm just going to go ahead and do this because I don't know, I'm just feeling like clicking it. So now here again is an example of how we can interchange between an hourly rate and the salary. So I'm going to go ahead and just click show salary. Roughly translating, it's like 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. So you can just multiply the hourly by like the 2,080, and you'll get roughly what the salary is. What the heck degree did I just choose? I just chose an associate of business administration mathematics degree. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and do that one. Paste just the values. One thing too you can do to clean this up a little bit is you can go up here and hit wrap text, and now it'll circle around just like the other ones over here. Let's see, what was my average salary? $69,000. And then I'm going to choose one of these jobs. So here I have an assistant controller, a business manager, and construction manager. I think assistant controller sounds cool, so I'm going to do $63,000 for that. And I am good to go there. If you want to dig into these a little bit more too and like learn about them, I absolutely encourage you to do so. When I clicked into this, you see that it shows a different value. So average assistant controller salary, median is showing $77,000. You might wonder, well, why the heck is that the case? A second ago, it was just showing the $63,000 here. The reason for that is, again, this is an associate's degree. So this is saying, hey, you can get this job, but you're probably going to get paid less for it because your degree is not the same as somebody else getting this job. So there are different careers that you will be paid differently depending on the education you have. Education, as an example, is one that is directly the case, right? I, as a teacher, get paid more if I have my master's than if I don't have my master's, just as an example there for you. And so we can also do one by searching down here. And the thing that is different about this is I've searched specifically for an associate's degree. So I've gone by degree and then just went directly to associates. So if you want to do this, that's fine as well. It's sort of like a one-click option versus the other one. You're kind of choosing one for yourself. So here my associate's degree is boom, boom. think it's just, yeah, so it's just associate's degree. No fancy title on that one. And then I'm going to again choose one of these jobs. So let's see. Like an office manager. I wish I was assistant to the regional manager, but you know, I'll take it. Here it has it as an hourly thing, and we can change it to a year. So again, it's the same idea. We're changing between hourly to a salary. And so I'm going to take my 48K, slap that in here. And what do we say? We're assistant to the regional manager. So I don't know why this is being so glitchy. There we go. Paste and done. So I have now completed all of this, and I've even gone a little bit further because I've shown multiple examples, whereas you guys only need to use one of the links. So I'm just going to jump over here to show you what I mean. I'm only asking you guys to do one of these. You can use either of the links. I'm only asking you guys to do one of these, even though I'm giving you multiple links. Hopefully you enjoy this part of the project, the last bit just being the conclusions, and then we are good to go. Let's see, how do I want to wrap up videos? I figured out how I want to wrap up videos. Okay, bye.